So everybody, we have some great endorsements. I'm so grateful to Arturo Farril, Brent Fisher, Peter Bernstein, Victor Mendoza, Larry Bayonne, John Damian, Israel Sandoval, and Oscar Stagnaro for their great and wonderful words that they have to support the book. As you can see, this lovely cover art was done by my daughter, Alma. And you can see here that I have each chapter's dedicated to a certain element. So I go through the soloists, and then I have a solo linear content, harmonic content, rhythmic content, solo proportions, tres solos, cuatro solos, requinto solos, guitar solos on traditional songs, guitar solos on Latin jazz standards, guitar solos on standard type songs, guitar solos on blues and modal songs. Then I have a special chapter dedicated to 6/8 over the bembe pattern. Then I have guitar solos in 6/8 that show you what they're doing over that 6/8. Then I have conclusions, and then one of my favorites is always the etudes and play-along compositions. Then I have a play-along track list, an anthology of guitar solos in Latin jazz, a timeline of solos, the credits, and then you can read something about me, all right? So this book is dedicated to my dad, Sergeant First Class Neff Irizarry, U.S. Army retired, and to my entire family, Irizarry, in Guayanilla, Puerto Rico. And a big shout out to them and to my people there at the Conservatory of Puerto Rico for having me just in this last April, right? So anyhow, you get an introduction that basically tells you, what to expect. And then I go through how to use the book, a little bit of notation, some recommended fingerings and positions for all you guitar players, and some helpful tips. Also, I reiterate that you can go for all the transcription and audio example links at my page, resources, and you also feel free to contact me anytime. It's cool, completely fine. So anyhow, there's some great pictures here, but you didn't come for the pictures. You came for the knowledge here. So as I say, and you see this highlighted because this is one of my drafts here of the book. I go through solo linear content, and like I said, I break it down into chord scale usage, and we have some nice excerpts from all of the solos, right? And we'll just go through the first chapter, and then I'll go a little bit more specific, and then we're gonna go to briefly over the second chapters. So I go through every style of the soloists there. Even Carlos Santana and George Benson excerpts are here. Then we go over melodic minor, and the same thing with these guys. Edgardo Miranda, Ramon Stagnaro, right? We go over blues and pentatonic, and rather than just telling you about the scales, what I do is that I show you exact places in the solos where they use them and how they use them, so that you can emulate the way they use them, those motifs, and try to get that in your playing, because it isn't really interesting to just go through, just play up and down the scale. It's better to have it in some type of context. So that's what's going on. One of my favorites is this Caribbean fire dance at Edgardo Miranda. And then, of course, George Benson on Old Devil Moon, which is just happening. And by the way, all of these audio examples for this, you go to my YouTube channel playlist, Contemporary Latin Jazz Guitar Volume 2, and there you can watch the videos. And what I did was, I put all of the videos, I put the notation as in 2 bars or 4 bars, so it's easy to pause, and you can find these places quite easily, right? So anyhow, so we go through all these. There's Carlos Emilio Gordo Morales from Iraquere, and we get Santana again, and we're still in melodic minor. Then I go through contrapuntal considerations, which we'll talk about motif sequencing, right? And I show you how it's done, with starting, of course, with lesson quattro on traditional songs, right? and then guitar and jazz standard type, guitar and traditional songs, and I'm gonna go back because there's also this tres en cuatro here, Yo Motoro, Florencio Piccolo Santana, all right, Steve Kahn. Talk about intervallic leaps, excuse me, not just licks, right? This happens in tres and cuatro traditional songs. Nino Rivera, right? Okay. Then I talk about chromaticism, and the chromaticism is basically in a way that, you know, all of these solos, because I'm taking traditional solos and the more contemporary solos, they all have some type of levels of chromaticism. However, as you all know, bebop solos, they have more of this jazz chromaticism, and the book can just be only about that. So the point that I'm getting to is that I only have just a few examples from the many solos, from the many excerpts from the solos, right? So, and you'll notice that, and I write that here as well, right? So, and of course, guajeos and montunos, what they use, right? And then we get to chapter 3, which is solo harmonic content. Everything is laid out in the most logical and rational way in the book, so that I'm always leading you through. I have like little blocks underneath, like for example, in this tres cositas nada más, talking about triad voicings, and I tell you what they are underneath, and I also put on top of the bar, I put the chords so that you see how you see the thinking of the soloist, but also you see how the reharm relates to the key of the moment, right? Anyhow, so this is pretty lengthy reveal, but anyhow, we'll get to chapter 4 of solo rhythmic content, which is extremely important because, you know, about Latin jazz and any type of world music, you have to agree to the rhythm of the style, which is really important. So in solo rhythmic content, what I do is I show you all in a very logical way how what they're playing is lining up with the cascara and the clave. And I talk about positive and neutral. You all can read about that. I won't reveal too much, right? So I go through that pretty much at length. But what's really important here is that in each example, I put things in blocks to draw your attention, and I use dashes and brackets to make sure that everything is clearly presented to you, right? Okay, right. So one of my favorite places, instead of going through the whole book, because it's quite lengthy, it's about 337 pages. So rather than go through that, one of the best things about the book, in my opinion, is all of these notated solos. They took a while to do, as you all know, but they're lovely laid out here. You get a chance to really look at a bird's eye view of what they're doing. On some of the solos, I even have some bracket systems and some things for you to pay attention to. Recommended mode of practice: listen to the solos, play along with the solos, extracting licks, motif development, performance scenario, which is important because please remember to keep it simple in your solo. Choose one technique or idea, express yourself with clear intention while staying open to all the external influences of melody, harmony, and rhythm around you, and have fun.